Hi, I'm Lynette and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you the Slush palette by September Rose. I'm going to be showing you some swatches, talking a little bit about the brand and the palette, doing a tutorial, and then telling you my thoughts after using it for the first time today. If you like these types of videos, please go ahead and hit the like button and consider subscribing because I do these types of videos along with makeup hauls, swatches, and reviews here on my channel every Saturday. The Slush palette by September Rose was released, I believe it was this month of August. Yes, it shipped in the month of August. I got it on pre-order and it went out of stock. It was sold out, and it's currently on pre-order again, and it's going to be shipped out September 7th, or it's going to be restocked on September 7th. This palette retails for £24.99, and I was able to use a discount code ROSEBADDIE in all caps, which gave me like $2.99 off of the palette, which isn't a lot. So with price and shipping, it came to the equivalent of $46 US. So that to me was a lot of money to pay for an eyeshadow palette from a brand I'd never heard of and products that I had never used from them before. So it's a little expensive. September Rose is an indie brand that I never heard of before. But once I saw this palette was going to be launched, I saw the picture of it and the shades that were included, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So a little bit about the brand. I went on their website and I couldn't find anything really about them. It doesn't talk about who they are. It doesn't mention their mission, nothing. The only thing I know about them is that they are based in England and they have other products, but this is the first product that I've heard or seen that interested me. So the Slush palette, this packaging is so pretty. So pretty. I want to be her. This is who I want to be right now. She's got on the big hat, she's got the fruity drink in her hand, she's got the pool and the beach behind her. Like, September Rose describes this palette as 25 assorted shades. It comes with a mirror, it's travel friendly, it's cruelty free, it's 100% vegan, and it's paraben free. And it is made in China. It's designed in London, England, and it's shipped from London, but it is made in China. And it has a shelf life of 36 months according to the package. And it is paraben free, but the first ingredient is talc. So if you're sensitive to talc or you don't like talc, then this may not be the palette for you. So this is the packaging, and it's cardboard, and it is a sleeve, and that's the back, and the back just has the ingredients, and it's cruelty free and all of that good stuff. And then when you slide the palette out of the sleeve, the palette looks exactly the same as the sleeve, front and back. And inside there is a mirror right there, nice size mirror. And then you have your eyeshadows, and I really like the layout of these eyeshadows. I like all the colors. The names are printed on the palette, and they are all named after slushy drinks, flavored drinks like cotton candy, strawberry, cherry lemonade, berry blast. Really cute. Does make me want to have a slushie just reading all the names. The only name that doesn't fit is Tiger's Blood, which is that last shade in the second row. But all the other ones are consistent with slushy names. And I like how this palette is laid out. I like that by rows, it's arranged where you have different varying shades and tones of the same color. So here you have your pinks, and in this row you have your oranges, you have yellows and greens, you have your blues, and then you have varying shades of purple. So I really like how it's laid out. It is a combination of mattes. Some of the mattes have little like silver shimmer in them, just a couple, maybe 2 of the shades. Blue carousel is one of them, and raspberry has a little bit in it, but once you put it on the eye, at least when I swatched them, the shimmer didn't really translate onto the skin, which is good because I don't know why brands keep putting little shimmers into what is essentially a matte eyeshadow. I don't get it. Hopefully they will start listening to the people that have complained about it and they will stop doing it. So this palette, this kind of rainbow bright colored palette, is I think the best in terms of the look of the palette. I think has been the best released of this type of palette this summer, just in my opinion. I'm going to show you some swatches. They are all finger swatches. I did not use any primer or any base underneath. So let's get into the swatches. Swatching row by row, this is Cotton Candy, which is a matte. This is Strawberry, which is a shimmer, like a lilac pink shimmer. This is Pink Lemonade, which is the most pigmented in this row, and it is a matte, very pretty. This is Cherry Lemonade, which is got a little more plum to it. It is a matte. And this is Sour Cherry, which is also like a magenta pink. Very pigmented, very pretty. It too is a matte. Second row, this is Peach Lemonade, which looks more orangey than any peach in it to me. It is a matte. This is Mango, which is a nice orangey shimmer. Swatched very well, very smooth. This is Orange Soda, which pigmentation was not great, and I built up all of these swatches. This is a matte. This is Tropical Fruit, which is a beautiful shimmer metallic that swatched very nicely, very pigmented. And this is Tiger's Blood, which I had to build up, and it is like a red-orange matte. Continuing with the next row, this is Coconut Milk, which is an off-white matte, which swatched very nicely. As you can see, it's very bright. This is Banana, which is a matte yellow, which swatched much more pigmented than I expected it to for some reason. I haven't had a lot of luck with too many yellows that I've tried this summer. This is Lemon and Lime, which is a matte. I think it's got a little sparkle in it, but it doesn't translate onto the skin. This is Cucumber Lime, which is a green, and this is Sour Apple. And the more pigmented, which is a matte, these are all mattes, the more pigmented the eyeshadows, the more powdery they feel, and the more kick up I experienced in the pan. On to the fourth row, this is Bubblegum, which is this really bright metallic shimmer shade. It is like a white with violet blue shift to it, very pretty. This is Blue Hawaiian, which is a turquoise matte, not very pigmented. This is Blue Lagoon, which is probably the most pigmented shadow thus far. Beautiful turquoise shimmer metallic shade. This is Blue Raspberry, which is probably the least pigmented shadow that I've swatched thus far. Cotton Candy is pretty poor in pigmentation, and this is even worse. And this is Blue Carousel, which is this dark navy blue that has like silver shimmer in it that doesn't translate too much on the skin. This is also poorly pigmented. I had to build that up. And then the fifth and final row, the purples. This is raspberry, a very light lavender lilac, more like a lilac, I guess, matte shade. It looks like it's got a little silver shimmer in it, but again, doesn't translate once you put it on the skin. This is Berry Blast, which looks much darker, like a purpley grape lavender in the pan, but swatched pretty bright. That's a metallic shimmer shade. This is Grape, a purple matte, which needed to be built up, poor pigmentation. This was Dark Cherry, also needed to be built up, not very pigmented. And lastly, Black Currant, again needed to be built up, not very pigmented. These were probably the least impressive shadows of the bunch, which is disappointing because purples are some of my favorite colored eyeshadows. But again, these are just swatches. Don't know how it will perform on the eye. Now we're going to get into the tutorial of this look right here. This look that I did today with my new palette was inspired by this really beautiful, talented makeup artist that I follow on Instagram. She goes by the name of The Melanin Rose. So this look today was inspired by that look. It's not a recreation, it's just an inspiration. And if you're not following her on Instagram, you should be, because she's definitely someone who's not afraid of color or glitter. She does some really colorful, some of them what I consider a little far out looks, but they're all beautiful. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you should go ahead and follow me too, because I post looks that I don't always film for YouTube. I will post on Instagram as well. So you should follow the both of us, okay? All right, so if you would like to see how I created this look today using the Slush palette by September Rose, then keep on watching. Today I'm starting out with the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Milk. Everything I mentioned will be listed in the description box below. I'm not playing around today. I'm just going to lay down this white base because I'm working with eyeshadows I've never used before, and they are bright colored eyeshadows, and I want to make sure I get the biggest bang for my buck. I don't want any changing of the colors once I blend them out on my skin. None of that today. Now I'm going into the Slush palette, and I'm taking Peach Lemonade, and I'm going to apply that high above the crease. And I was not expecting this shadow to be this pigmented. That white base really helps, because this was one of the shadows that swatched really poorly. Didn't seem to have any pigment in it when I swatched it, but on this white base it really comes alive. So I'm just going to spend a whole lot of time blending this out to try to soften it a bit. This is the shade Banana, and it is a nice rich yellow shade, and I'm going to put that in the inner third of my lid. And I was concerned here because it looks like it's going dark, or like I'm taking off the shadow or the milk base underneath. So I really should have been tapping the shadow and tapping it on, as opposed to immediately going in with my aggressive swiping back and forth. So I am going to end up tapping it as I go along. But this wasn't a bad yellow. It's fairly pigmented, I think. There, I'm sorry I was out of focus there, and I wasn't unhappy with this yellow. I haven't found that all the yellows I've tried this summer have been the greatest, but this one's not bad. But again, it was a lot of building in this look. There was a lot of building up, except for maybe the purple shade I'm going to put on the outer V. Now I'm going to take Orange Soda, and this shade swatched really poorly. And I'm going to put that in right there on the mobile lid. I'm going to go all the way up and into the crease with all of the shadows I'm putting on the lid, because I want them all to blend together, not just on the lid but in the crease as well. And this shade, I spent a lot of time building up, which I wasn't too unhappy about because I wanted this to be more of a soft look. I didn't want it to be too bright. So if you don't mind eyeshadows that aren't too vibrant, too bright, you might enjoy this eyeshadow. But I spent a lot of time building this eyeshadow up with a combination of tapping and swiping motions. And there I'm just blending it out into the crease. Now I'm taking Grape and I'm using this Sonia Kashuk smaller blending brush, and I'm tapping that, and now I know what to do, so I'm tapping instead of swiping. I'm tapping and placing that color first, and then I'm going to blend it out onto the outer V, onto the lid, a third of the way onto the lid, and up into the crease. And this shade, I didn't have any problems with. As I said earlier in the video, the purples didn't swatch very well at all, so I was pleasantly surprised at how pigmented this eyeshadow turned out to be, and all of the shadows blended really well also. And now I'm just going back in with that orange soda to make sure I didn't lose any of that intensity while I was blending out that Grape shade. And then I decided I wanted to put Cotton Candy. This was a soft pink. Again, this one didn't swatch too brightly either, so I figured it would be a nice choice to soften up that crease a bit and put it above or on top of that first shade, that Peach Lemonade that I put on originally, and it worked out very well. And now I'm just going back in with Banana because I wanted to make sure I didn't lose any of that yellow. Now I'm going into the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette, and I'm just going to take that shade called Heir, and I am putting that underneath my brow. That's going to serve as my matte underbrow highlight. And this was an all matte look. Now I'm just wiping up the fallout, of which there wasn't a whole lot, even though some of these shades were powdery, and I did get some kick up in my pan. And now I'm going in with my Rimmel Scandaleyes Kohl pencil in the shade Nude. And I didn't realize I didn't film that part. This was, I put on that shade Raspberry, and you can see a little bit of it on the corner of my bottom lash line. It didn't film, I wasn't filming that part. This is the color Grape again, and I'm putting it on the lower lash line. I should have gone in and used that pencil that I put in my waterline. I should have put it underneath and on my lower lash line to serve as a base for those shadows there. But I kind of wanted to see what they would look like without a base. And the Grape turned out okay, but the Raspberry, not so great. And now I'm taking Coconut Milk, which in the pan looks like, and I know it's a matte white shadow, sort of, yeah, a white shadow, eyeshadow, but I don't know, when I applied it, it looked like a shimmer shadow. And these are the eyes completed. I used my Inglot number 77 gel eyeliner for my eyeliner and for the wing, and my Koko Lashes in the style number 107s. And I don't know what that is on my eyelash there, but that's the look. And I finished off today's look with MAC lip liner in the color Heroine and MAC lipstick also in the color Heroine. Heroine is probably my favorite lipstick that MAC makes. So my thoughts on the Slush palette by September Rose Cosmetics. So far so good. I have to say I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. There are some shades that are not very pigmented. At least the swatches did not indicate that some of these shadows are pigmented, very pigmented at all. Orange Soda was one of those shades that didn't swatch very well at all, but it worked just fine on the eye. The white base underneath, of course, helped, as it does with all eyeshadows, especially bright colored eyeshadows. Peach Lemonade I didn't find was too pigmented either when I swatched it, but once I put it above my crease, that was the first shade I started out with on that white base, it was pretty pigmented. It showed up way brighter than actually I had intended or thought it would. So I wasn't mad at that. Orange Soda, I had to really keep building and keep building and keep building. So if you don't want an orange that's really bright and out there, you might not mind Orange Soda. I didn't mind that I had to build it up in this look. I was going for a softer look even though it's colorful. So I didn't mind that I had to build up Orange Soda. And I actually like the look that I came out with today. The Grape right there on the outer V. I had no problems with that. Some of the shades, a lot of the shades are powdery, especially the mattes. The shimmers, not so much. The mattes are powdery, and the more pigmented they appear to be, the more powdery they were. I did have some kick up in the pan, but not enough to turn me off to the palette. I like the look that I created, and I didn't have any problems working with it, so I like it. This was actually a palette that I mentioned in my makeup addiction relapse video. It was a palette that I said I regretted purchasing. The palette hadn't even come yet, and I had already felt buyer's remorse in buying it because I've bought quite a few colorful eyeshadow palettes and shadows this summer. So I felt like I really didn't need this palette, and I don't. I mean, you know, if I'm being honest, I really don't need it. But once it came and I saw it in person, it's so pretty. And now after using it for the first time today, I'm not mad at it at all, guys. I'm really not. And to be honest, I was kind of tapped out in terms of colorful eyeshadow looks because I've done a lot of them this summer. And I was feeling kind of tapped out with colorful looks, and I really didn't want to do another one. But of course I wanted to show you this palette, and I'm glad I did, because again, I like the way it worked out, and I really didn't have too many problems with it. So very happy with it thus far. I will be playing around with it in the days and the weeks to come. So please let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see any more looks with this palette, and I will get that out to you. It is again on pre-order right now, so if you were thinking about purchasing it, you might want to. So far so good. Only used a few shades though. So with that said, that is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit the like button and consider subscribing, because I do these types of videos here on my channel every Saturday. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.